If you want to spend 3 hours of your life watching an Army of the Dead movie, go throw your head up against the wall and knock yourself silly. Go watch a 90-minute movie that is pretty close to sheer perfection. 1 hour and 30 minutes. That's all you got to spend, and you will find perfection. Don't go watch 3 hours of sheer utter nonsense, okay? Okay. Charlie, are you all right over there?
Almost 3 hours.
That was good.
And all this dialogue, nothing was told. No good actual storytelling happened. The first
No
Quiet Place
dialogue?
movie is in 1 hour and 30 minutes, no dialogue. That story was way better. I cared way more about the characters.
You do. You do. You do indeed. I'm just... All right. Welcome back to the Simpleton Review. We're so glad you have decided to join us this week, spending a few quality moments with your friends, because we are your friends. We are. We truly are. I mean, I know you don't know us, but look at us, especially Charlie and I. Don't we look like people that would just love to give you a big old bear hug? Come on, you know we would. All right, this week we're going to be talking about. That was kind of scary. We're going to talk a little bit about a movie called A Quiet Place 2, starring, what is his name? John Krasinski and his wife. What's his wife's name?
Emily Blunt.
Emily Blunt, right. And it is the sequel to A Quiet Place. And if you have not seen A Quiet Place, then you should probably turn this review off and go watch A Quiet Place. We will try to keep this one spoiler-free of the sequel, but we can't talk about the sequel without spoiling the first one. So go watch the first one if you have not watched that yet. So, A Quiet Place Part 2, it is 21 American horror film, sequels to 28 Quiet Place, following the family from the first film as they continue to navigate and survive in a post-apocalyptic world inhabited by blind aliens with an acute sense of hearing. The film was written and produced by director John Krasinski, and I'm telling you what, this is Jim, man. I mean, this guy.
I know Jim.
He's so good. I actually read the movie script for A Quiet Place, the first one. It's amazing. It is so, I was like, okay, as a writer, as a script writer, how do you do that? How do you write a movie script, when there's no dialogue? Almost very little dialogue. And it is amazing. It is a really good script, and it is intense. And that movie script was basically word for word what the movie ended up being. Like, they didn't change much at all. It was like, and I was like, just full of anxiety reading the script, let alone watching the movie, so I could tell why it got made, because that movie, I mean, the script is amazing. So let's talk about A Quiet Place 2. Again, it follows the family that's left as the father figure, John Krasinski, dies in the first one. And so the mother and the daughter and the son and the brand new baby have to leave their house to try to find people that can help them out. So they head out into the mountains. They stumble upon a guy that they actually knew from the town that they lived in, and chaos ensues. I'll just go from that. But the opening sequence is really interesting. You end up finding out a little bit more about where these aliens came from and what happened at the beginning moments of when the world falls apart. And it is intense. I mean, it's just like there's.
It was so good.
Yeah, and the actual action part of that opening sequence is only about 60 seconds long, but that 60 seconds was intense. I mean, it's like, oh my gosh. So, man, it's a crazy movie. Lemuel, why don't you go ahead and tell us what you thought about A Quiet Place Part 2. Now, folks, you have to know that Lemuel did not see the first movie, A Quiet Place, until very recently. And we made him watch A Quiet Place before we watched A Quiet Place 2. So you saw them fairly close together. Let me know what your opinion is of the second one.
I liked it a lot.
Okay.
I was a little worried it'd suffer a lot from sequel syndrome, we'll call it, where it's way not even close to how good the original was.
Right.
I might argue that it still isn't as good as the original, but it's close enough for me, to be honest. That first sequence, like you were talking about, they do this one shot where it's like all in one shot right before something happens, and that was incredibly effective. Like we watched it in theaters, the whole theater was like, what?
Yeah.
Because this movie liked to do a bit of jump scares, but they do some like unorthodox jump scares, in my opinion, where instead of like loud noise and be like something off in the background, but it's still there and it makes you jump because it's there in the background, or do something like I'd call them almost offbeat, where a lot of movies would like build, haha, jump scare. This movie would like build, and then where you'd think the jump scare would be, it'd wait a moment. Just give it on that offbeat and then get you. And that was really effective, and I loved it a lot. I was a little worried that they wouldn't be able to keep the intensity of the first one, especially where they kind of figure out how to handle these monsters. It's like, is this movie going to be as interesting now that there's a weapon involved? It was still as interesting, almost.
Yeah.
So, there's that.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Charlie. What about you, my friend?
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this film. It didn't have the mystery part that the first one had for the first half of the movie. So you kind of wanted that, but as the movie played on, it felt like more like how a video game would play out to me. Just how each thing came up, and it's like, oh, we didn't think we needed to do that. But now we do, and so it's like the story kept building. The intensity would like ebb and flow, like Lem said, it was an offbeat thing, but it was perpetually like feeding itself.
Yeah, yeah.
Just because we got through this. Oh, then I kicked the latch, and I didn't expect that. Now we got to solve this new problem.
Right.
And yeah, it was good. It was really well done.
Yeah, I agree.
Too many things you could spoil with this. So
yeah, it's.
I
Really
don't want to like let anything out of the bag.
No. I think there's a couple of things we could talk about that I just want to talk about, so we're going to spoil it anyway, regardless of whether or not it's a
Warning, spoilers.
a spoiler. But I mean, we won't give away the ending or anything like that, or some of the main plot points. But one thing I did really like is like my thought going into the second movie is how. What they did with the first movie that made it so effective was their use of silence. That's what made that movie absolutely terrifying, was that use of silence the entire movie. Now, how are they going to do that with this one? Because there's a lot more talking, and you can't really use that same effect twice because it's not going to hold the same weight as it did the first time. They still use it, but what they ended up doing is they end up using it from the daughter's perspective. So when they would go into her perspective where everything is quiet because she's deaf, you still felt that same like the world is closing in on you because you can't hear, kind of a thing, right?
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Please skip to 9 minutes and 36 seconds to avoid spoilers. Thank you.
And that scene in the train with her in the train is like,
Yes! Oh! That was so good.
Oh, you should have seen.
That was so
The
good.
whole theater was like,
yeah, right. And then at the beginning, when the son, and this is, I guess it's kind of a major plot point, but it's not going to give the whole story away. He steps in
bear
a
trap?
trap.
Oh
My God. His blood-curdling scream that he lets out was like, that kid is a good
How
actor,
did he
because
do
I
that?
believed him. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
my stomach wrenched.
oh,
I was
man.
like,
Yeah.
Still.
I mean, you could feel the pain just
Yeah.
from the sound.
Oh, it was, and you're just like, oh my God, they're all gonna come. They're gonna come out of the woodworks. They're all gonna die right here. They're gonna die. They're all gonna die. That's just the way it is. It was intense. And then just some of those scenes. The radio station was pretty good too, and it was well done. I was afraid that it was
Yes.
gonna suffer from that. And maybe, I've heard some of the critics say this, and maybe I agree with them a little bit too, that maybe it held that really good intensity and excitement because it was for a lot of people, one of the first movies they've seen in over a year at the movie house, because it was really the first big money-making blockbuster to hit the theaters since, most theaters opened back up and people were allowed to go back to movie theaters. It made tons of money. I mean, even for pandemic times, and even if it was normal times, it still did really well. It didn't bring the numbers in that it would have if everything was normal, but I mean, the $11 million or whatever Tenet made,
nice.
If Tenet made that, which is nothing for a movie to make, but they made I can't remember how much they made opening weekend, but it was a lot. It was like 36, 40 million, somewhere around there. That's a decent opening weekend, even in normal times.
That's a good weekend.
Yeah, so I was really excited to see that, and John Krasinski keeps on amazing me, man. His, his stint on The Office, he's not allowing that to stereotype him, because he has these movies that he's made, and he plays in Tom Clancy.
Jack Ryan.
Yeah, he plays Jack Ryan in the Amazon show, and he does a really good job with that one too. So he's a good actor. He really is.
And he's got some good news.
What's that?
that little internet spot.
Yeah. People love that news too, right? I hear that I haven't actually seen one, but they dig it. So let's go ahead and give our scores for A Quiet Place 2. And I feel anxiety just talking about the movie. That's how good it is. Charlie, go ahead. What's your score?
I'm going to give it a 4.5.
4.5.
I thought it was fantastic. You got to go see it.
Okay. Wow, that's simple and to the point.
Simpleton enough.
That's right. Lemuel, you?
I think I'm going to give it a 4. There's one more thing I wanted to say. There are times where it would follow two different groups of people, and normally I feel like symmetry between two groups of people would be kind of cheesy, but the way this movie did it, even though they were almost shot for shot symmetrical, so good. It just added to that amount of intensity. I don't know how he did it, but anyways, 4. Go watch it, please, in theaters. Best experience.
I'll give it a 4.5 as well with Charlie. I think this movie is fantastic. If we would have reviewed, if Simpleton would have been around when A Quiet Place came out, I would have given that movie a 5. It is fantastic.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, that scene where that little child turns on that toy. I'll tell you what. Oh,
you don't even.
It's just.
You don't even know what's gonna happen yet, and your heart drops as soon as that sound happens.
Yeah.
For the first 5 minutes of that movie, they're like.
Yeah, there's nothing going on. It's just, it's so good. But yeah, this is a 4.5. It does look. It is a sequel, so there's that certain element of mystery and surprise that doesn't exist, and you're just gonna get that. The way this movie ends, I can guarantee there's going to be a part 3. There's holes that have not been wrapped up yet, and I just hope that if there is a 3, they just leave it as a trilogy and call it good. I think you'll be suffering from the law of diminishing returns if you try to stretch it out much farther than that, unless you want to follow other people that may have.
The Quietest Place, Part 10.
Yeah. Super duper kind of quiet place. Right next door to the quiet place that was really not that quiet. It was kind of whispery, but not quiet.
And then this one turned out to be the noisy place.
Yeah, that was really noisy. I'll tell you what. We were having a disco, and these aliens showed up. It wasn't a good thing. I don't know what happened there. It was like, Casey and the Sunshine Band. And
Up with your head!
Then there was Casey and the Alien Band. It was weird. I just did not like it. So, yeah, I just hope. Go ahead, Lem.
I was just going to say, based off of how good these movies have been so far, I feel like John Krasinski's got to be smart enough to know, trilogy, that's it, we're done. Leave it, let it rest.
Well, yeah, I guess it just depends on how much of a money grab he is. I'm just saying. Because the movie companies, and even if he decides not to write anymore, if the movie companies know they can make money off of it, they'll try. They'll find another writer to make a different movie. But, it'll be like a lot of these other movies that are made. Go for the originals. Stay away from the others.
They get bought by somebody else and perpetuated.
Yeah. I just hope they don't do it, but I know for a fact there'll be a 3. I mean, I don't know for a fact, but I can 98% guarantee there's going to be a 3. There are holes that aren't wrapped up yet, that we can't really talk about. Otherwise, it'll be spoilers. So that's it. We got a 4.5, a 4.5, and a 4 from the Simpletons for A Quiet Place 2. If you have not seen it, you are dumb. You need to go see this movie. I'm sure it's still playing at your movie house. If it's not, then I'm sure you can rent it on video on demand. I'm pretty sure you can. Go watch it. It is amazing. If you like to be scared, if you like that feeling of anxiety, of claustrophobia, of any of those kind of things, I know that sounds really bad, doesn't it? It's like, who wants that stuff? This movie is worth it. It is one of the best horror sci-fi movies I've ever seen in my entire life. And that's actually saying something, because that's one of my favorite genres. So go see it. John Krasinski, you're a freaking genius. That's all I'm going to say. Hey, Zack Snyder, why don't you take some lessons?
Learn from Son. Why don't you get a role in The Office? No.
That's right.
Might help.
Yeah, that's right. I mean,
he can work with Steve Carell for a while. You know, he might set you straight.
John Krasinski,
because he is one of the best bosses.
John Krasinski is Jim. Zach, you're Michael. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay, all right. Oh, how the turntables.
Actually, it'd be more like Dwight.
Yeah. I wouldn't go that far. Poor Zach. Look, I'm telling you.
I could have given him the part of his adversary, the guy that would hum and sing all the time.
If you
I
want
forget his name, but
if you want to spend 3 hours of your life watching an Army of the Dead movie, go throw your head up against the wall and knock yourself silly. Go watch a 90-minute movie that is pretty close to sheer perfection. 1 hour and 30 minutes. That's all you got to spend, and you will find perfection. Don't go watch 3 hours of sheer utter nonsense, okay? Okay. Charlie, are you all right over there?
Almost 3 hours.
Good.
And all this dialogue, nothing was told. No good actual storytelling happened. The first Quiet Place movie is in 1 hour and 30 minutes, no dialogue. That story was way better. I cared way more about the characters.
You do. You do indeed. All right. Well, we have hammered... I'll tell you what, these Zack Snyder references are going to go down to history. Zach, we love you. Don't send to your lawyers. That's all we're going to say. All right. Who's going to mess with simpletonreview.com? Come on. Our 2 people that watch these videos every month. Please. All right. My name's Nate. That's Charlie. That's Lem. Thank you so much for joining us. If you like what we do, go check out the simpletonreview.com. You'll find all of our videos and articles that we've written, which isn't much, and hopefully we will write more in the future. But we do. If you want to become a Patreon and support what we do, we'd love to have you. You can join tiers from $1 all the way up to $100. We give lots of cool, awesome perks depending on the level you join. It doesn't cost a lot, but it doesn't. It's not cheap either. So help us out here at the Simpleton Review. If you like what we do, please leave your comments. If you like A Quiet Place 2, let us know. If you thought it was the dumbest freaking movie since Gone with the Wind, what did I say that? Then let us know, please. If you think it's even worse than Army of the Dead, you're stupid. Don't leave a comment. Move on. All right. I'm Nate.
because it's certified.
Thanks for watching us here at the Simpleton Review. We'll see you next time. Have a great day. Bye-bye.